Imagine walking into a home where no shoe has ever touched the floor, where every object has its own place and clutter simply does not exist, where even train stations, hospitals, and public sidewalks are often cleaner than the average living room anywhere else in the world. This isn't a luxury home. This isn't some rare exception you'd only find in a magazine. This is ordinary, everyday life in Japan. No live-in maid, no expensive cleaning service, no mansion-sized budget behind it. Just quiet, invisible habits repeated every single day for an entire lifetime. So what do Japanese people actually do differently? What is really going on behind those spotless floors and empty countertops? Stay with me until the end, because this isn't just a video about cleaning, it's a video about a completely different way of living, one that might change the way you see your own home. Let's begin. We live in a world obsessed with cleanliness, yet somehow most of us are losing the battle. We buy storage bins, we follow decluttering channels, we promise ourselves a fresh start every January 1st, and still within weeks, the mess creeps back in. The pile of mail on the counter, the shoes scattered by the door, the drawer that no longer closes properly. But in Japan, cleanliness isn't something people fight for, it isn't a New Year's resolution, and it definitely isn't a weekend project fueled by panic before guests arrive. It is something much quieter than that. It's a mindset, absorbed slowly from childhood through culture, architecture, education, and even spiritual belief. Today, we're going to walk through the hidden habits that make Japanese homes so remarkably clean, not just the actions themselves, but the deeper reasons behind them. Because once you understand the psychology at work here, you may never look at your own space or yourself the same way again. Let's start at the very entrance of the home, because that's exactly where the transformation begins. The moment you step into a Japanese home, you're stopped by something almost invisible, a small raised area near the entrance called the genkan. This is the line between two completely different worlds. Outside the genkan is the world of streets, trains, offices, dust, and grime. Inside the genkan is home, safe, clean, and personal. And the rule here is absolute. Shoes come off, every time, no exceptions. Guests do it without being asked. Children learn it before they can even tie their own laces. Even repair workers and delivery staff often slip off their shoes before stepping past that line. At first glance, this looks like simple hygiene, but there's something deeper happening here. In Japanese culture, the home is treated almost like a small sanctuary, a space that deserves to be protected from the chaos of the outside world. Removing your shoes isn't just about keeping the floor clean, it's a psychological signal, a tiny ritual that tells your brain, I am leaving stress behind. I am home now. Think about how different that feels from simply walking indoors in your street shoes, tracking in dirt, tension, and the noise of the day without ever pausing to leave it behind. That small pause at the door, untying laces, stepping out of shoes, creates a moment of transition, a reset. If you try nothing else from this video, try this one habit. Remove your shoes at the door every single time, without exception. Watch how much cleaner your floors stay, and notice something else too, how much calmer your mind feels the moment you cross that threshold. In many parts of the world, cleaning happens in bursts, a rushed hour on Saturday morning, a last-minute scramble before company arrives. Cleaning becomes an event, something dreaded, postponed, and eventually rushed through out of necessity rather than care. In Japan, cleaning looks almost nothing like that. Instead, it's small, it's constant, it's woven into the rhythm of the day so naturally that it barely registers as cleaning at all. Wiping the kitchen counter right after breakfast, sweeping the entryway each morning before anyone arrives, making the bed the instant you get up, before your mind even fully wakes. This habit connects to a broader cultural idea known as souji, a word that carries much more weight than the English word cleaning. In many Japanese elementary and middle schools, students clean their own classrooms, hallways, and even bathrooms every single day, not janitorial staff, the students themselves, working together in small teams. Why would a school choose this instead of simply hiring cleaning staff? Because cleaning, in this context, isn't treated as a punishment or a chore to avoid. It's treated as a form of self-discipline, even a quiet form of respect, both for the shared space and for the people who use it. Children grow up learning, without ever being told directly, that taking care of your environment is a way of taking care of yourself. This is why, for so many Japanese adults, cleaning doesn't feel like a burden weighing them down. It feels like something you simply do, the same way you brush your teeth or lock the door before leaving, not because someone is watching, because it's who you are. Step into a typical Japanese apartment, especially in a crowded city like Tokyo, and you'll immediately notice something surprising: space, open space, breathing space. Even in homes that are objectively small, sometimes only a few hundred square feet, there's a sense of calm that larger homes elsewhere often lack. The secret isn't square footage, it's restraint. Japanese homes tend to have fewer decorative objects on display, fewer just-in-case items stacked in closets and corners, fewer things bought impulsively and never used. This habit connects to a deeply rooted cultural value called motenai, a feeling of regret over waste, paired with a quiet respect for objects, space, and resources. There's also a well-known principle that shapes Japanese minimalism: don't keep something in your home unless it serves a clear purpose or brings genuine value into your life. Not maybe someday, not it was a gift so I feel guilty, just does this deserve space in my home right now? This isn't about deprivation or living with nothing, it's about clarity. When you own fewer things, you clean less because there's simply less to clean. You search less because everything is visible and accessible. You stress less because your eyes aren't constantly scanning a room full of unfinished tasks disguised as objects. Your home, like your mind, has room to breathe. There's a simple phrase that quietly shapes the way Japanese homes are organized: a place for everything and everything in its place. In many Japanese households, storage isn't an afterthought squeezed in wherever there's leftover room. It's intentional, planned, almost architectural. Drawers, boxes, shelves, and containers are designed so that every single object has a specific spot it belongs to. This might sound like a small detail, but it quietly solves one of the biggest hidden causes of household clutter: decision fatigue. When an object doesn't have an assigned home, you're forced to make a tiny decision every single time you handle it. Where does this go? Multiply that by hundreds of objects scattered throughout a home, and suddenly, simple daily life starts to feel exhausting in ways you can't quite explain. But when everything already has its place, putting things away becomes automatic, thoughtless, fast. There's no hesitation, no pile to deal with later. The object goes home, the same way you return to your own home at the end of the day. This single habit, assigning a home to every object you own, is one of the most powerful and most overlooked secrets behind homes that stay consistently tidy without constant effort. In many cultures, a spotless home is treated as something to display, a subtle symbol of success, wealth, or status, something to be proud of when guests walk through the door. In Japan, the motivation runs quieter and arguably deeper. Cleanliness is closely tied to a cultural spirit known as omotenashi, a deep, selfless form of hospitality. A clean space isn't primarily about impressing visitors, it's a way of showing respect for the people who enter your home, and just as importantly, for yourself. There's also an emotional thread running underneath this. Many people in Japan describe a cluttered, messy space as something that creates genuine inner discomfort, almost as if disorder in the environment mirrors disorder somewhere inside the mind. You can see this reflected far beyond individual homes. After major sporting events or concerts across Japan, it's remarkably common to see attendees quietly gathering their own trash before leaving, stadiums that hold tens of thousands of people. No one is forcing them, no announcement demands it, they simply do it, because leaving a mess behind, even in a temporary shared space, feels wrong. This tells us something important. Cleanliness here isn't performance for an audience, it's identity. Perhaps the most powerful secret behind all of this isn't a specific technique at all, it's timing.
In Japan, cleanliness habits don't begin in adulthood, once we're already overwhelmed, busy, and set in our ways. They begin in early childhood, long before habits require willpower to maintain. From a young age, children are taught to fold their own futons each morning, organize their own school supplies, and clean their own classrooms alongside classmates as a completely normal part of daily school life. Not as punishment, not as an exception, simply as something everyone does, together. This early, consistent repetition does something remarkable. It transforms cleanliness into muscle memory, rather than a battle of motivation fought fresh every single day. As adults, so many of us struggle to maintain clean, organized spaces because we're relying on motivation alone, and motivation, by nature, runs out. But when a habit is planted early enough, in childhood, it stops requiring motivation altogether. It simply becomes part of who you are, the same way walking or speaking your native language feels effortless. This might be the deepest lesson hidden inside Japan's famously clean homes. Discipline isn't something you force upon yourself later in life through sheer willpower and guilt. It's something nurtured early, gently, one small repeated action at a time. So, why are Japanese homes always clean? It isn't because people there have more free time, it isn't because they have more money, bigger houses, or hired help, and it certainly isn't about chasing some impossible standard of perfection. It comes down to small, consistent actions, repeated so many times that they eventually stop feeling like chores at all. Removing your shoes at the door, wiping a counter without being asked, returning an object to the place it belongs. None of these actions are dramatic on their own, but together, repeated daily for years, they quietly become identity. Maybe the real lesson here was never really about cleaning at all. Maybe it's about respect for your space, for the people who share it with you, and quietly for yourself. Because the way we treat our home often reflects the way we treat our own mind. So tonight, before you close this video and move on with your day, try just one small thing. Take off your shoes at the door. Wipe one counter. Put one single object back where it truly belongs. It's not about having a perfect home by tomorrow morning. It's about slowly becoming, one small habit at a time, someone who simply cares. And maybe, in the end, that's the most beautiful kind of clean there really is.